What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. So first of all, I would like to thank you guys for the massive support that you have given me towards the growth of this channel. I really appreciate your support. Okay, so keep subscribing to the channel. Great. So I've been receiving a lot of comments where people are asking me to do a video on other blogs, right? So I thought it wise that why not? Yeah, I mean, I can do this for you guys. So if you are struggling with choosing the right other blocks, you might want to stick around to the end of this video. Don't skip, don't skip, don't skip. Okay, great. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, kindly hit that subscribe button as usual and turn on post notifications. Okay, so with that being said, let us jump straight onto the chart and find out how to choose the right order block. All right, so welcome back to the chat, guys. So let's quickly look at what we have for today. Let me quickly begin with this pictorial drawing right here. Okay, just be patient. I am going to start with this pictorial drawing. Then after that, I'm going to show you real life examples on the chart. Okay, so just be patient, right? Great. So let me quickly begin and give you this three basic criteria that I use to find my valid order blocks. Okay, so you know that I like to keep things very simple. Okay, so just get this criteria or rules and add it to your arsenals. Okay, so in finding an order block or in choosing an order block, the first thing that you need to look out for is to make sure that that candle that you are choosing as an order block is engulfed. Okay, so when I say is engulfed, what am I trying to mean? Okay, what I'm trying to say is that make sure that, for instance, this bearish candle over here, right, the next candle that comes after that bearish candle, what has its bodies closing above the wicks of the bearish candle. Okay, you know, so many people have it that in choosing an order block, probably in a buy trend scenario like this, you're going to go for the last sell to buy candle, or when you're in a downtrend, you're going to go for the last buy to sell candle. I don't have any problem with that, but this is what I have found, and it works for me very well. That is why I am sharing with you guys. Okay, so always make sure that you are not just choosing the last sell to buy candle or the last buy to sell candle, but make sure that that candle that you are choosing is engulfed by the next candle, like what I have shown you right here. Okay, so if you come onto the chart and you are seeing something like this, probably let's say this candle has not been printed yet. Okay, and you see something like this, right? If you are choosing the last sell to buy candle, I mean, this is going to be invalid because this next candle, this next bullish candle, didn't close above the wicks of this bearish candle, so it's going to make it invalid. Okay, so if this candle will be confirmed as a valid order block, it will depend on whether the next candle that comes after this bullish candle will close above the wicks of that bullish candle. So if we have the next candle printed like this, then we are going to have this candle as our order block. Okay, so what I normally do is that I choose from here to the bottom of this candle right here as my order block. Okay, that's what I normally do. Okay, so that is it. With the buy scenario, always make sure that your candle is engulfed. So when you are in a sell scenario, when you are in a downtrend scenario, you have to make sure, like something like this right here. Okay, imagine this candle had not been printed yet, right? If you are choosing the last buy to sell candle, you're going to be looking at this candle. Okay, but it makes it invalid because I said that if you are choosing an order block, make sure that it is engulfed. If you look at this right here, the wicks of this bullish candle has not been engulfed by this next candle, this next bearish candle, right? So if only it is engulfed, if you have the bodies of this candle closing below this wicks, yes, then this buy to sell candle will be valid for an order block. Okay, but when you have it not closing below the wicks, then you're going to wait for the next candle that forms after this bearish candle, and if that one closes below the wick of this particular candle, then you're going to choose this bearish candle as your order block. Okay, so that is it, right? That's the first thing that you need to look out for. Okay, so the next criteria that you are going to look out for when choosing an order block is to make sure that that order block you are choosing is within discounted or premium zones. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, so if you are in an uptrend or a buy scenario like this, right, you might want to spread your fibs. Okay, that's what I use my Fibonacci tool for, right? So I'm going to spread my Fibonacci tool from the low to the high, and then I'll make sure that any candle that I would choose as an order block is within this discounted zones. Okay, if I have an order block above equilibrium, I'm not going to choose that because it will likely fail. Okay, it is likely going to fail. So I always make sure that any candle that I choose within a swing leg is going to be within what discounted zones, right? Especially when you are in a buy scenario like this. Okay, if you are in a sell side scenario, probably you've had price do this, right? You've had price do this. Okay, you're gonna make sure that the candle that you are looking at, okay, let me take this out. You're going to make sure that the candle that you are looking at, you're going to spread your fibs from the high to the low, and just make sure that the order block or that candle that you are looking at as an order block is above equilibrium, right? It's above equilibrium. That is within premium zones right here. Okay, if the candle is below equilibrium, I mean, you don't go for it because likely it is going to fail. Okay, so that is the second criteria. So the third criteria that you need to look out for, okay, is also to make sure that that candle that you are looking at as an order block should be the one that instigated a break of structure. Okay, so quickly, let us combine all these three criteria that I have given you in finding the right order blocks. Okay, so like I said, first things first, you need to make sure that that order block is engulfed, right? So if I look at this swing leg right here, okay, I have two order blocks, right? The first one was here, okay, but I think by now you should find out why this order block failed, right? Okay, it has to do with the Asian session inducement, right? So that is why that order block failed. So I just take it out, and let's concentrate on this one where price reacted off, right? So first of all, like I said, you need to make sure that that candle that you are choosing as an order block is engulfed. Okay, so if you look at this candle, we can see that the next candle that came after our bearish candle, which we are looking at as our order block, had its bodies closing above the wicks, right? So it meets the first criteria. Okay, the second criteria was to make sure that that candle is within what discounted or premium zones, right? So in this scenario, it was an uptrend, so we are looking at price within what we are looking at that candle within discounted zones. Okay, so if I take my fibs, and you can see that it is within what discounted zones. Okay, both candles that I was looking at was within discounted zones. Okay, so it meets the second criteria, and the third criteria was to make sure that that candle was a source of a break of structure, or it instigated a break of structure. So what do we see over here? We had price making what lower highs and lower lows right here. Okay, lower highs and lower lows until we had that break of structure right here. Okay, so in this scenario, this candle will be defined as our decisional order block or decisional demand zone, and this one will be our origin demand zone or order block. Okay, so that is it. We can see that all these two candles met the criteria that I gave, just that this one failed because it has something to do with the Asian session inducement. Okay, if you have not watched my video on the best Asian session strategy, you can go and check it out. Okay, so another example. So on a normal day, people will be looking at this big bearish candle right here. Okay, but to me it is invalid because the next bullish that came, right, didn't have its bodies closing above the wicks of that candle, so it's invalid for me. Okay, and we can see that the next candle that came after the bullish candle also did not have its bodies closing above the wicks, so it makes these two candles invalid. Okay, but then what happens? The next candle that came after these two candles that we're looking at, we can see that it was engulfed. Okay, it was engulfed by the candle that came after it, right? So it makes this candle right here, first of all, meeting my first criteria, being engulfed. Secondly, I need to ask myself, where is this candle, right? So if I should take my fibs, spread it from the low to the high, we can see that the candle is within what discounted zone, so you can see that it also meets the second criteria, right? So now we are left with the third criteria. The third criteria is to always make sure that that candle was the source of a break of structure. It instigated a break of structure, so we can see that price what broke structure right here. Okay, so price was making what lower highs and lower lows until we had that break of structure, and we can see how price just mitigated this candle real quick and moved up. Okay, so another example. Great. So this example right here is a valid order block, but it is a different type of order block, which I call a reactive supply zone, right? I'm going to talk about that in a different video where I'll talk about demand and supply. Okay, so initially we're making what lower highs and lower lows, right? And we had price breaking this level right here. Okay, this last level of supply, right? We had price breaking it, right? So we are bullish right now. We are no more bearish, we are bullish. So before that, this was the order block. We can see that it was first of all engulfed. That's the first criteria. It was engulfed. Secondly, it instigated what a break of structure. Okay, and then third, if I should take my fibs and extend it from the high to the low, we can see that it is within what premium zones of this leg. Okay, so it made it was a valid one until price broke structure, okay, into this supply zone, this reactive supply zone. Okay, and with this, why is it a valid one? You know, some people might also be looking at this bullish pin bar or hammer or whatever you call it. Okay, but does it meet the criteria that I gave? So the first thing, we need to make sure that it is engulfed. Is it engulfed? No. We can see that the bearish candle that came after the bullish pin bar or hammer didn't have its bodies closing below the wicks, so it didn't meet that first criteria. Even though if I take my fibs and spread it from the high to the low, we can see that it is within what's premium zones. Okay, apart from that, it instigated a break of structure right here. Okay, but because it wasn't engulfed, this bullish pin bar becomes invalidated. Then I look at the next candle, right, which met all the three requirements that I was looking at. Okay, so first of all, if I take my fibs again, spread it from the high to the low, we can see that that candle is within what, or is above equilibrium, is within premium zones. It meets the first one. Secondly, it has been engulfed. Okay, the wick has been engulfed, and then also it's what caused a break of structure right here. So that is why it acted as a valid order block. Okay, so like I said earlier, we've had a break of structure right here. Okay, so this candle right here that we are looking at as a valid order block, we can see that we've had a break of structure, one. Secondly, and even with the break of structure, not just this level, but we also had this level breaking. So we can see two levels of structure breaking, right? So we've had that break of structure as our first criteria met. Second criteria, if I should take my fibs and spread it from the low to the high, we can see that that candle is within discounted zones, is valid, check, right? The third one is to make sure that it is engulfed. Okay, so if we look at that the bearish candle before the pin bar, we can see that that candle was not a valid one because it wasn't engulfed, even though it met two of the criteria, but it didn't meet one, so it was invalidated. But then this bullish one met all the three, and that becomes my order block to look at. And that is exactly what price did. Price just came into that block and we took off like that. Okay, so let me see if I'll get any other examples real quick. Yeah, so in here we can see that price was making higher highs and higher lows on the 15-minute. Okay, so this was the last demand point, right? The last demand point that price was supposed to respect, and then we continue with the bulls, but it failed. Okay, so we had that change of intent right here. Okay, so price has switched from a bullish one to a bearish one, so we had a change of intent to the downside right here. Okay, so we have this whole leg as my 15-minute swing leg, so from here to this point. Okay, so we have this whole leg. So first thing, I can see that there are so many order blocks, but I am going to mark those that are within my premium zones. Okay, so if I spread my fibs from the high to the low, okay, we can see that we have this order block, right? We have this order block. Okay, we have this one as well. We have this one, and we have this one, and the last one right here, which I didn't mark because it was in confluence with the Asian high. Okay, so if I look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 order blocks. Okay, but which ones are valid? Those ones that fall within premium zones. So these two right here do not fall within premium zones. Okay, so even this one right here, first of all, we can see that it didn't instigate this break of structure, so this one is out. This particular one is out. Now this candle or this order block right here caused the break of structure. One. Secondly, it was engulfed. But the third one, which has to do with being within premium zones, we can see that it is right below equilibrium. So this one failed. That is why we see that when price retraced, okay, when price retraced, if you had this order block right here as the one that we are looking at, you can see that it wicked it into this one over here. Okay, then after that, you are going to trade the reaction of that one. Price didn't get here, it didn't get here. Okay, so we just trade the reaction. We always trade the reaction, not that because we found the order block, so we just put our limit on and then blah blah blah. No, we trade off the reaction. Okay, let's see if we have any examples. So again, we might have people looking at this buy to sell candle, but again, we can see that the next candle that comes after the buy to sell candle did not close below the wicks, or it not close below this candle. Okay, so indirectly or as quick as possible, this candle is invalidated as an order block. Okay, now the next candle, we are looking at this candle. We can see that price, or we can see that the next candle that came after this doji didn't close below the wicks. If you look at it carefully, you can see that they were at par. Okay, the wick and the body were at par. It didn't close below that wick, so this candle becomes invalidated as well. Okay, but then we look at the next candle and we can see that the body of the next candle that came closed below this wick. Okay, so this becomes my order block that I will look at, and we can see how when price came in, price didn't retrace into this order block. It didn't. Okay, because that wasn't where momentum was introduced. That wasn't where selling pressure was introduced. The selling pressure was introduced within this candle. Okay, so that is why price retraced just into this one, and then we moved to the downside. So guys, this is where I'm going to end today's video. Always make sure that you are applying these 3 basic criteria in finding your order blocks, and make sure to backtest this before you add it to your trading arsenal. Okay, so if you found value in this video, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed to the channel. So see you in the next video, guys.